What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the fourth and final year-end list that I'll be doing on this channel. If you haven't yet, be sure to check out the 3 that I've already done, and be sure to check out that hip-hop list that I did as a blog exclusive. Link will be down in the description. But I've definitely saved the most fun one for last. New Year's Eve is literally a day away as I shoot this, and everyone's getting psyched for one of the few nights a year where getting completely obliterated is somewhat socially acceptable. So to honor that, we'll be counting down the top 10 turn-up songs of 2016. And if that phrase makes me a tool, trust me, the top 10 most lit songs of 2016, that would have been way more painful. 2016 was a year where I saw my relationship with partying change pretty drastically over the course of these 12 months. You know, I finished college and shit gets real very fast after that. So I look at this year and it's divided into twos because from January to May, I took in more disinhibiting substances than I ever have and hopefully than I ever will. And then as soon as I graduate, from that moment until now, I've probably been like the tamest I've been since I was 15 years old. It really just comes down to that post-college split where half the kids really just carry on living the exact same way they've been living, and the other half tone it down. And that's the path that I've chosen to take. Just because for me, it feels like it's time to do what I was meant to do with my life and not die of cirrhosis of the liver or super AIDS before I accomplish what I want to accomplish. But still, I don't want to sound like a hardo or anything, because the reality is I don't really see this part of my life going away permanently anytime soon, and I'm just as excited for New Year's Eve this year as I was in 2009 and every year since. So without further ado, let's talk about some of the best songs that soundtracked our best nights this year. First up at number 10 is Designer's Panda. Clearly a one-hit wonder. His debut mixtape was not very good, but party music is an arena where being a one-hit wonder doesn't really hurt you and is even embraced sometimes. Of course, we all first heard this track on Kanye's A Life of Pablo, but once Designer dropped the official version, it quickly became one of the biggest party songs of the spring. And over time, I really grew to like it. I love the ever so slightly dissonant instrumental and that bass snare pattern that really makes everything pop. And I love Designer's like just absurd, over-the-top ad-libs, especially in that first verse. It just adds a ton of energy to the track. And most importantly, I got a nickname out of this song because if you listen to the second verse, he says, "Pull up your panty." And I guess it just, I don't know how, but it became this thing where my friends call me that. So I guess I'll always have that connection with this song too. At number 9, Rae Sremmurd with Black Beatles. What's funny, and I'm sure I butchered that. What's funny about this one is that when Srem Life 2 came out back in August, I really wasn't that into it, but there was one song that I really gravitated to, and that was this one. But ironically, this was not even a single. It wasn't one of the songs that was on people's radars. People seem to be gravitating a lot more towards the song Look Alive. But then the fucking mannequin challenge happened, and this song just became ubiquitous. And I was glad about that, because it's a great track. That 8-note loop in the instrumental is just so damn addicting, and it almost builds this sort of underlying tension, even though the song is really celebratory and boastful. Not to mention the melody in the hook and Gucci's guest appearance and just the overall jaunty and carefree nature of this track. Like, even without the mannequin challenge, it's just a great track for a pregame. Number 8 is Yo Gotti's ode to the direct message and its relationship to the mate selection process. Down in the DM. You go down, you go down. Yo Gotti is the first person I cite when people tell me, oh, I like his conscious rap or whatever, because I have fucking loved his last 3 projects. Last 4 now, if you count CM9 was just dropped and is phenomenal. And this is one of my favorite songs of his, not only just because of how hard it bumps, but just because of just how goofy and ridiculous this is as a song concept. It just has this hilarious, sort of awkward charm to it. Like when he says, "Snapchat me that pussy," I just can't help but laugh. It's just such an outrageous song. And if you want even more entertainment, you really should heavily consider heading over to Genius.com and seeing Yo Gotti's official artist-approved annotations for the lyrics to this song. It's just I get a real kick out of it. And yeah, beyond all that, it's also just a dope, southern flavored hip hop banger. Number 7 is High and Low by Empire of the Sun. Now, if you've watched my top 10 non-metal albums video already, then you've already heard me talk about this great new record of theirs. But High and Low is the one track on it that kind of stays more in line with that blissful pulse of a lot of songs on their last album, Ice on the Dune. And like a lot of their last album, this thing is fun and upbeat and really hard not to like. Numero 6, The Weeknd with Starboy. Unfortunately, it's looking like radio is eventually going to kill this one for me. But for now, what can you even say about the damn chorus to this song? It's just insanely catchy, and it just makes you want to move, as corny as that sounds. This might be the least hyped up song on this entire list that I'm doing right now, but it's still just an awesome listen on a night out, whether it's your first drink or two with a couple close friends, or you're already completely bombed. I've heard it in both contexts, and it's Penny approved. The Starboy album itself might have had a bunch of filler on it, but I don't think anyone can take away that the title track was just one of 2016's best songs, just point blank. The production has a real warm and insulating quality to it, yet The Weeknd is ultimately still bragging on himself, and anyone listening is simultaneously bragging vicariously through The Weeknd, so it works in that sense too. It's just an awesome song. At number 5, Mr. Kanye West with his infamous, pun intended, Famous. I only have 2 points to make about this song. Point 1, anybody who has ever been to a club, a nightclub, a drinking establishment where there's people who are drunk understands exactly why Kanye West makes his lyrics, as silly as they are sometimes, so damn simple and so damn quotable, because they fucking pop off in that atmosphere. For example, if you've ever questioned the poetic Kanye West lyric, "What she order, fish fillet?" If you've ever wondered why that lyric exists, then you probably need to get out more. Because any time I've ever heard that song in a bar or a club, the DJ will just cut out the music and fucking hundreds of people will yell that lyric in unison. And it's just a cool moment. So the first verse of Famous has that same quotable call and response quality to it, is basically what I'm trying to say. That's my first point. Point 2, the fucking amazing bridge section in this song. Maybe my favorite moment on any song all year. So yeah, The Life of Pablo didn't necessarily end up being too much of a party-friendly album, but Famous sure was a party song. Number 4, Tropical House Sensation, Mr. Kygo with Stole the Show. Like a lot of his fans, I was super disappointed in Cloud9, his debut album, and how it fell into a lot of those corny pop EDM crossover traps, but I really like this song. A lot of people consider Stole the Show more of like a chill song, but I don't see it that way at all. That drop that happens about a minute and 30 seconds in just instantly brings me back to every day drink at a southern school I ever went to. Just, you're not out of control, but you got a nice buzz, the sun is shining, you're playing some drinking games, you're just loving life. I think Parson James gives a great vocal performance, and I really connect with the lyrics, even though my interpretation of them is pretty dark. To me, Stole the Show is like a metaphor for dying, and how the moment you die, you want to just look back and be like, wow, at least I crushed it with this life shit, you know? And given that interpretation of these lyrics, it may seem kind of odd that I think this song goes well with partying, but I actually gravitate towards dance songs and EDM songs that have a bit of a melancholic lyrical theme to them, because in reality, partying, especially excessive partying, does have this kind of sad and lonely undertone to it, and I like to engage with that as much as I like to engage with the happy stuff. And number 3 is Travis Scott with Coordinate, one of the very few highlights on an otherwise boring sophomore album, but Coordinate is just fire. It's got that same nocturnal, drugged out vibe that all the best tracks on Rodeo had, and I've been consistently putting this on at pregames from the moment it came out right up until now. That's a good 4-month stretch. Number 2, the silver medal I'm going to give to Aurora by Grime, an incredible EDM track. This song single-handedly forced me to go back and give Grime another shot, because when all my friends were really into the trap thing in 2014, I just didn't really get it. but now going back, I just can't get enough. And the first time I heard this song, it was in late April when I was about to enter the most party-centric month of my entire life. So every time I hear this song, it just brings me right back to the very first time I heard it. I was on a bus on the way to visit a buddy of mine whose school was about to throw this big year-end rager, and I just was so amped. And so this song probably holds a special place for me in that sense, but it also just is fucking killer. Aurora is just a perfect song. It just sends all the senses into overdrive. Hearing this song early in the night is like experiencing a pre-drunk. The way this song just plays with sonic peaks and valleys and these fluctuations in energy is just captivating and awe-inspiring, and it's exactly why I'm trying to really get into this genre more. And number one, didn't debate this for a second, Mike Posner's I Took a Pill in Ibiza remix. Kind of predictable and somewhat basic, sure. But just let me explain. Why I fell in love with this track is exactly the concept that I mentioned earlier with Stole the Show. Production-wise, it engages with that carefree happiness that goes along with the partying lifestyle. But lyrically, it engages with the sadness and loneliness and self-medication aspect to partying. And that's the magic here. Mike Posner is telling you how much he hates his lonely, materialistic, and indulgent existence as he pours another drink. And a lot of times that's how I feel when I'm getting ready to go out. It's like this romantic mix of sadness and escape. And Sieb's remix of what was originally an acoustic ballad is the ultimate manifestation of that mix of emotions, and in turn, the ultimate manifestation of partying. And that concludes my top 10 turn-up songs of 2016. I really hope you guys enjoyed reliving some of your awesome nights out this year. Maybe a few of these songs were soundtracks to those nights, and I hope you have a fun and safe New Year's Eve. You know, dead subscribers are always a bummer, but here is to more awesome party music in 2017. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or shoot me a message so we can continue to talk music. And I will see you guys soon.